How's it going, everybody? Chaotic Meatball here with Beastcoast Pokemon, along with James Beck, one of our good teammates, of course. We're going to be doing a good old discussion-based playthrough of Legends Arceus. I've got multiple guests lined up, and the first, of course, has to be somebody that you guys are used to seeing on this channel.
This should be fun, hopefully. I mean, Arceus does have a decently slow early game, but there's some cool stuff that happens.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's a little slow, but it's not too bad. It's not as slow as, say, like a Gen 7 or like at the beginning of Sword and Shield. We're gonna name this one BC just to differentiate it. It's Beastcoast.
Man, I remember when I first played through this, I was like, I got so much Mystery Dungeon vibes.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It was like, put your finger on the screen. I was just waiting for it. I'm like, I can't. I have to take the Switch out of the dock. Just from the experience I've had, I've put about 25 hours into my first playthrough so far. I feel like this is the best Pokemon game I've played since Black 2, White 2. And I think it's also kind of like, you almost can't associate it with other Pokemon games because it's completely different.
It is really different compared to like anything Pokemon's really given us in the past. So I'd say it's really hard to rank on that kind of scale, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I loved Breath of the Wild, so of course I loved this game so far. It really does give me the Breath of the Wild feels, especially once you get, like, the ride Pokemon, you can traverse stuff. The only thing that's missing is the stamina wheel. If they had a stamina wheel, I would be like, alright, we can... Oh, it's, The Legend of Arceus Breath of the Wild.
This opening cutscene kind of just... I don't know how I felt about it, because it just felt really weird that Arceus just blessed you with a phone.
Placed into another Pokemon world with my smartphone.
Have you actually seen the smartphone isekai? There is actually one out there
no,
for an
because
anime
I heard
works.
it was dog shit.
It was like... The thing was, there's just so many isekais out there, and like many just don't really offer too much, you know? And that's basically it. It was just like your standard isekai. There was nothing like super like differentiate it, I guess.
Yeah, once you've seen one, you've seen them all. And I'm just like, all right, I'll watch ReZero, and that's about it. But yeah, starting out here, I mean, game looks pretty good. I mean,
Wait.
If I was actually doing this right, I would be using like an emulator and putting on a bunch of like nice filters that people have already made, high quality like textures.
I've seen some of those and they definitely look cool. By the way, that shirt, I just realized it looks way different from the one I started off with. It looks way better than the really weird Hawaiian kind of vibe shirt. It looks like it's one from Galar. Now
I've got to say the Pokemon models kind of look like they're from Sword and Shield. Like they're the reused ones that they just added new animations for.
I mean, I felt like a lot of this was originally Sword and Shield textures. There's like a lot of stuff that was like very similar to I think the DLC, especially like the locations. Like you could see some of the Crown Tundra and the Isle of Armor incorporated. Like you can definitely see some similarities there. So that's what I imagine they used as the base outline for this game.
The only thing I was gonna say about the models is they look like they were pulling out of like Gary's mod.
The thing I was gonna say is that phone case. I think we talked about this in a separate call, but like that phone case just seems so unnecessary. Have you seen like the one they offer for like iPhones for the Pokemon Center? It's like some kind of huge outline, and it just seems like it wouldn't even fit in your pocket.
Yeah, I hate bulky ones like that. It has like the little handles on it, which is supposed to represent Arceus's rings.
Yeah, it just seems so impractical.
It's just completely impractical. Now, I do like the fact that they chose starters from different generations. 2, 5, and 7 are definitely like generations worth of starters that I enjoy most of. So I'm glad that they went with those, but
I feel like they picked a lot of starters that like weren't really seen too much in like general competitive wise, and ended up making it for the alternate forms.
Yeah, I feel like they were like, let's try to give these Pokemon a little bit more representation.
Who are we picking is the question. When I played this game, I was streaming and I let my chat vote. So I think they made me pick Routlet, and I think second was Cyndaquil by like 1 vote.
I chose Rowlet in my first playthrough because it's a flying type only hardcore Nuzlocke. So I was like, I need to choose the flying type.
Oh, I remember our tier list video, and you were definitely one who really enjoyed Routlet. If you haven't seen that tier list video, make sure you go check it out on the Beastcoast channel. It's available.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite videos we've done so far, even though it was like one of the beginning ones. Uh-oh. Give it another go, my boy. Okay. Please let me get behind you.
I'm pretty sure you're guaranteed to catch it.
I was hoping to see if you could get like the backstrike. I don't know if that's possible at the beginning of the game like now, but I figured I'd at least try.
I don't think you can for the last starter. The last starter will just keep your eyes on you, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because it looked like I was going pretty fast, but I wasn't able to make it all the way around. So I've got to say, I like the music of this game very much so. All of the tracks are memorable. A lot of them have leitmotifs from Diamond and Pearl. For instance, have you heard the like Eterna Forest theme that they use for that the part of the Obsidian Fieldlands where Cleaver is?
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about, well, I like the music. One of the I think one of the music designers or composers was someone who worked on one of my favorite games of like all time, which was The Great Ace Attorney, and that had like a really good soundtrack, and it kind of just fit this time era.
I haven't played those because I never played the English patches that they made for the 3DS ones. I think they're bringing them over to the Switch though. I'm not sure if that's out yet or not, but I'm definitely interested in picking them up.
Or The Great Ace Attorney, or do you mean Ace Attorney in general? Because the Great
No, yeah, Great Ace Attorney.
Oh,
because I know they were called Daigyakuten Saibon over in Japan for the 3DS.
No, it's available. Both games, it's like a package, and it's like $40, which is actually a really good deal.
Oh, I didn't realize it was already out. I heard about it and then I forgot about it.
It's fantastic. I'd highly recommend.
But yeah, oh my gosh, Jubilife Village's music is just too good for me. So, fun fact: if you put the camera like this, the professor slows down and you can actually get past him.
Oh, that's cool.
Assuming I can.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I like how they keep foreshadowing the dark hole, and as you see it like throughout your adventure in so many different camera shots.
Yeah, I definitely like that because it's supposed to be like a space-time, like continuum snafu thing. I don't know yet. I'm assuming so because it looks like most of the other ones. But yeah, that technique where they look up, speedrunners were starting to think, wait, do we have to do this for the entire run to optimize our movement? And I know a few runners were like, man, I don't want to play this game if we have to do that. No thanks.
Wait, I just realized that the character put the phone in the back pocket. Imagine trying to sit with that phone.
More like, yeah, try to sit without snapping challenge. Impossible.
Yeah, this scene was kind of
last again.
This scene was kind of strange when I saw it. But I guess there was a lot more discrimination back then, and Japan games actually like don't really mind showcasing as much, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see that there's a lot less censorship, I want to call it. I don't even really think there's much censorship because this game was already like child friendly for Japanese audiences. Though they do bring up a little bit more of things like death, like Cyrene at the beginning here is just like, I'm gonna send you on a mission, don't die. That's basically
there
what
is
she says.
Definitely a darker tone in this, which I can appreciate.
Yeah. I also like that they started off with Arceus as like the first legendary because it makes sense. It's like they made the god of Pokemon in Generation 4 and they're finally giving some sort of like backstory to it. I'm all about like more prequels, backstory kind of stuff. That's why I'm a fan of stuff like the MCU or like the Star Wars extended universe that they've been doing with the TV shows and stuff. And if Pokemon's going in that same directions with the Legends games, I am all for it.
The classic Sun and Moon Alola eating cutscene that they showcased multiple times.
You know, they reuse so much from Sun and Moon in this game.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You look at the ride Pokemon, Wordier is Tauros, Ursaluna is Stoutland, Lapras, well, technically Sharpedo is Basculegion.
And then,
Those are the ones that I think of mostly. They're just like carbon copies.
and then is Braviary just Corviknight from Gen 8?
Well, Corviknight you didn't exactly control in Gen 8. At least Braviary. Braviary feels more like the...
Yeah, you can control Braviary, but there wasn't a flying one for Gen 7, right?
No. It's kind of like soaring from Gen 6, but like the Oras, but a little bit more like gliding.
Oh, like the Latios, yeah.
complete- Yeah, it wasn't actually like free flying. There is a mod that somebody has made that allows you to use Braviary completely like flying, which is really sick, but I've only seen it, haven't tried it for myself. Would love to though.
I do like the music in this game. The only problem that I had with it is like when I was streaming, there was like multiple times where the music just wouldn't play. So
Yeah, it's like Breath of the Wild in that way, where you have a lot of like incidental pieces. Also, I don't know what to really call it. Like just atmosphere.
I always turn off autosave because the last couple Pokemon games usually had some kind of glitch that could happen with autosave, so I always just turned it off as soon as I could.
Yeah, it seems like Pokemon like Gen 6 and onward definitely had a couple of flaws like that. I remember there being that Lumio City glitch in X and Y that just completely corrupted save data, and I was like, that's cool. It's a good thing I didn't save there.
What's actually nice is in this game, the text is like automatically fast. You don't have to set the fast text. Like,
Yeah.
it's just nice.
However, if you do want the text to go ever so slightly faster, you hold B while mashing A through it. I'm not one for plot in Pokemon games. As much as the plot is nice in this game, once you get to the noble Pokemon Goose Chase, it gets to be the same thing over and over again. Also, very much like the Team Galaxy headquarters theme, because you can hear some leitmotifs from Professor Rowan's lab from Diamond and Pearl. It's a brand new theme, but they do take a couple of like note progressions from it. And it makes me very sad that Insane in the Rain Music is no longer doing covers, because I really wanted to hear him cover some stuff from this game.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Carlos.
Yeah, that was a huge shame. I remember seeing that and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I saw it, and like I don't think he told anybody in the video game cover community beforehand. I was just like, dang. I completely understand it though. The legality and the gray area of it is just like, yeah, I guess you don't know because you're just trying to license it through, usually they use like two different services, either SoundDrop or DistroKid, and Nintendo doesn't really release their music in North America, so it's hard to get mechanical licenses for the stuff so that you can actually cover it and have it have like the composers and the creators of the music actually get their fair cut of the sales.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. Especially like we saw what happened to Gilva the other day, or it was like a couple
Gilva
days ago.
Center.
Although
Yeah, it was about a week ago, I think.
that might have been
I'm
fake.
choosing Cyndaquil just straight up. I want to play with the Fire Ghost type.
Yeah. I actually don't know which starter is like the best choice early game. I feel like it's probably I don't know, because you kind of get like most of these types pretty early in the game. I feel like, other than maybe you get a grass type. Do you get a grass type early? You do. You get Burmy and some other stuff.
Well, no, you don't actually get Burmy until after you get like the 1-star.
You can get Ponyta pretty early. I consider Burmy a little bit early just because like that's kind of where I am 6 hours into the game.
Right. Yeah, my I was more with my Burmy, of course, flying type only. I was like, yes, I need Mothim. So I was like, and the first one I found was male, and I'm like, good. I found what I needed.
My,
All right, where are we going? This way.
my team is like really stacked for the early part of the game. I'm like a 1-star rank, and I didn't know that they controlled levels, and I caught like a bunch of level 30 Pokemon like really early in the game.
Yeah.
So I can't even control them.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. If you do go a little bit overboard, it's very easy to just screw up and have everything disobeying you. But it is easy to get through like the first 3 stars on the ranking. So, well, we have our first battle up here against Volo, and I bet you can tell with that starter, that haircut, and the face exactly who he's the ancestor of. Also, so sick that you can move around in battle like this. It's not letting me move now, but like, oh, it got a critical quick attack. See the tackle coming down.
It's a cool
Also the
detail for sure.
Yeah. Also, the stats in this game are so wild.
They are.
Seeing 52 HP on a level 5 Cyndaquil is just like, why?
And the speed stats are like so different. I remember looking at some of my summaries earlier, and like the speed stats like drastically different at times.
Yeah, I was reading into it, and apparently they wanted the difference in levels for the Pokemon to be less substantial, and the major increase of stats happened through the grit powders, like the what was it? The grit dust, grit gravel, grit pebbles, and grit rock. Those 4 items. So you get those by like releasing Pokemon, and then they have like 0 through 10 on each stat, and you use those different items to get through those levels on your stats. Which is why I had like a Drifloon at level 6 in my flying only playthrough at like over 150 HP.
Yeah, the first time I did the Obsidian Fields, I went like out of my way and I caught the Luxray, I think here, or like I headed to that area immediately.
Yeah, the one where the Snorlax is blocking off.
Yeah, the one with the Snorlax. Well, it's not blocking off. Like you could go past it.
Oh, well, yeah, it's very easy to get past without triggering his sight because it's such a short field of distance. So, but it's so weird. Like this first area is so large. It's surprising how much like free access they give you for the first area of the game.
I don't know. I feel like that's more of like a JRPG thing in general. I remember like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I've only played a little bit, but it's like a huge open field, and like there's definitely a lot of level differences. Like you could go from like level 30s to like level 70 enemies, and it's like pretty insane.
Yeah, Xenoblade has that thing where they usually slap the biggest fearsome enemy in the first area that you see, and you're like, oh, I better not run into that. And then later on in the game, you're finally able to take it down. It feels really satisfying. That's definitely one of my favorite things about Xenoblade,
And
especially the first one.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is coming out. It's just announced a couple of days ago.
I was pretty happy about that, all things considered. Although I was one that really wanted to see Xenoblade Chronicles X finally make it to the Switch, but you know, I'm just biased towards that game. It was so different compared to the rest of the franchise, and honestly, like really, a really fun one. But I think because it was on the Wii U, it just didn't stick. And unfortunately, because it didn't stick, it was like seen as a failure, even though it was on a failure of a console and technically sold well for that console. But you know.
Yeah, I've heard multiple different opinions about X. Some are like, this is great, like yours, and then others like, this is like the worst Xenoblade possible. So it's like very mixed. I don't think there's like a consensus. Oh yeah, there's no abilities in this game. How do you feel about no abilities in this game?
It's definitely strange. No abilities, no held items definitely makes it akin to Gen 1. But the stats and the just sheer mileage of what moves can do for you are just overpowered in general.
Yeah, it's just weird. I think that they have like orange berries and you can't even hold them.
Yeah, for sure. You would think that it would be usable. I just hit that tree, buddy.
I guess you use them to make the potions, I suppose.
Yeah, it's cool that like the crafting system in this game is definitely neat. I like it, but it's overly simplistic. At least in my opinion, it is.
I think that's pretty good. It reduces the grind time.
Yeah, that's true. Although it is irritating later on, like once you get to Ultra Balls, you need like 5 materials for it. Trying to get all of the iron to construct them, it gets to be a little bit much, but the tumblestones and apricorns usually come fairly simple.
Well, I haven't gotten that far in the game, but like there's one thing that pissed me off, which was that one guy who like you get like one more item space and you have to pay like a certain amount and it keeps increasing, but you only pay for one item space, not even like a whole box space, like a whole
Right.
single item space.
I was wondering if it was going to let me out of its sight, and then I could go ahead and use just a straight up ball by sneaking up on it, but apparently not.
The move twice is just something interesting. It just reminds me of like Bravely Default 2, which is like one of the few JRPGs I've actually played a bit of, and I don't know how I feel about it in this game. It's kind of nice, but like it can be frustrating at times.
Especially because they don't default to showing you the turn order. That's something that frustrated me at first because I didn't know if it was there. Because my experience with this sort of battle system comes from Octopath Traveler, and that has the same style of like multiple turns in a row you can potentially chain, like Bravely Default 2. Or is it Bravely Second? It's Bravely Second.
Yeah, I've only played Bravely Default 2. It's actually like I only picked it up because it looked interesting on the Switch. And it's a good game from what I played so far. I actually am not even that far in the game. That's just how I feel about it. Like whenever I get invested into like one of those really long games like Xenoblade or Bravely Default, I usually like play for a couple of days and then I don't touch the game for like a long time. And then I get a sudden feeling to go back into it.
Yeah, sometimes if I don't just binge a game, I'll get lost. Like even in Zelda games, if I put it down for a couple of days and I pick it back up like I did with A Link Between Worlds, I'm just like, where the heck am I? And then I never finish it. That's why the only game I ever finished in that franchise was Breath of the Wild.
I've actually never even finished any Zelda game, and I have a funny story about Breath of the Wild. I actually owned a copy the day it came out because I forgot I pre-ordered it, but I didn't even have a Switch back then. So I just bought the Breath of the Wild game and just left it in my house. And even when I got a Switch, I never even played it. I still haven't played it to this day.
Really? That's so crazy. It's one of the best games on this console.
Oh no, everyone I've told this story to is like, you gotta play Breath of the Wild. They're like, I'm so backed up already, and I
know.
It just,
believe me, my backlog is just as clogged.
It's just like taking the time. We're finding the time. Like again, I'm like a binge watcher or binge player too, right? So like I need a lot of time generally, and I just don't have that for most of the time.
I definitely feel the same way. 90% of my gaming time is Pokemon. The other 10% is like Yu-Gi-Oh. That's about it. So we just got the Survey Corps uniform. I like the look of it. I don't know if I enjoy how bulky it is though, because the majority of the region doesn't seem that like cold. I kind of wish they had like a temperature meter like Breath of the Wild did, but they already lifted enough for Breath of the Wild. They didn't need to do more.
I do think that it makes Lucas look actually decent because like I was not a big fan of Lucas's design in general as a Gen 4.
I like the slight difference that they made for Akari. Well, Dawn and Diamond and Pearl, but her name in this game is Akari. I like that they kept more of the Japanese names than instead of like translating them. It's I think the first Pokemon game that they've really like left that alone. And I'm glad they did. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure just because this is way more like Japanese themed than like any other Pokemon game, so it kind of makes sense. Did Conquest do the same thing? I feel like Conquest might have done the same thing.
Conquest did do that, but it was like a completely different studio that was working on it. Koei Tecmo, I think it was. That game, by the way, fantastic. If you have not played Pokemon Conquest, you should. Also, I love how it's like, he challenges you to combat, and you have the choice to like charge him. I love that, and he just throws you. He's like,
yeah. I never understood why it was sumo, and I don't even think the village is a sumo like arena or something. So I like never understood why it was sumo.
I think it's just because he's a big dude, which him and Professor Rowan are both kind of big dudes, so it makes sense. It is crazy, just like you can decipher who's who, but also some of them you kind of just don't know. Like, I don't think Laventon is necessarily a predecessor to anybody. Leave down in the comments if you your theories as to who Laventon is the predecessor of. Because I know, like, the shopkeeper is, like, the predecessor to Charon from Platinum. Like, the like clothing person, that person is the is like the predecessor to Grimsley, at least by the hair it looks like that. But with all of that intro stuff out of the way, all the boring stuff, next time I think we're gonna finally get into some catching some of the real fun stuff. I think we have a little bit more tutorial to go through, but I want to keep these at about a half hour apiece. We're going to be having different guests on every episode, so we might have some recurring guests, I'm not sure. But I guess that's it for episode 1 of this Legends Arceus extended discussion / shoot the shit kind of let's play sort of thing. So if you like what you saw, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to both Beastcoast Pokemon and our individual channels. And we will see you guys next time. Take care.